Okay, you guys, here is part 2 to Dave Hodges. Can I tell you what an honor it is to sit down with someone with such a brilliant mind? You don't have to agree with everything he says or everything that I say. It's just the point that two people can actually have a conversation. We can discuss our opinions, we can discuss fact, we can discuss fiction, and we can come up with what we believe actually happened in Maui. The guys, part 2 goes way deeper than part 1. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, please go see it. Also, if you've not subscribed, hit that subscription button. If you'd really like to support our channel, think about joining us as a member. Guys, I have an amazing membership group. It helps me notice you because it puts a star by your name. So when I'm looking through the comments, because I am the only moderator on my channel, you stand out. I see your comments. Also, you get Christmas cards from me. We do lives with just members sometimes. So hopefully some of you will consider doing that. And also, if you haven't done yet, please consider helping Starkey Farmstead feed my community from April to November in a GiveSendGo.com campaign that we're running called Food for Thought. So it's really simple. You just type in GiveSendGo.com in Google or whatever search engine you're using, and it's going to pop up. They got the little search button. You hit, type in Food for Thought. I pop up, you donate, I feed my community organic, fresh fruits, vegetables, and meats. Guys, it's so important that we stick together, one community at a time, supporting working class, disabled, and the elderly here in America. All of our money is going out to everyone else but the people that actually pay the taxes.
Here's what I discovered. The plan is to turn Hawaii into an absolute series of smart islands. I found too much documentation for it not to be true. But every time Governor Green, or Governor Gangrene as I call him,
Right,
opens his lying mouth, he denies it's happening. And yet we've got meetings where he's promoting this and he's on video saying it. In fact, CBDC is really big too. They brought in someone they called a crypto exchange dollar alternative expert. And I'm thinking, why don't you just say CBDC? It's easier to say.
right.
And this was in their conference on September 25th. These people were burned out to start the process of turning Hawaii into the first smart island state. And they'll be the first state that's totally smart city.
Okay,
oriented.
so you said that. You know what just clicked in my mind? I was listening to some people on the island, and we were all talking like we do. And somebody said, what burns me up is that our tax dollars from Maui are going to, I cannot think of the name of the island, the ones like OAHU. And she said, we are literally doing a smart train. I said, a smart train? What in God's name is a smart train?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, they're going to do a smart train to move people around the island. They're not going to put any more roads or upkeep.
No rental car companies.
That's exactly right. If you want to move around that island, yes.
From the airport to Lahaina and that area, surrounding area. Yeah, I covered that.
Yeah, it would be a smart train.
Right.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. But I did find the information. We were talking about the dump and then the people next door. His name is Eddie Garcia, and it is Regenerative Education Centers. And you can look that up. It's RECENTERS.org on YouTube. And they're also building the tiny homes that they're giving away for free, so people can put that on their land and still claim their land and live there. It's a neat little program. But Dave, I'm telling you, Maui's in trouble. You know, they are. This is not going away.
I agree. I looked at the smart homes, and there was something that was disturbing. First of all, I think there were about 500 to 600 square feet, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. They are very tiny.
Very tiny.
But they had open vent to the outside. And I didn't think of this when I saw it, but I had people writing to me that were in home construction. They say, Dave, you never see this. And one person said, one word comes to mind. And I said, what's that? And they said, Auschwitz. And I still didn't get it. And they said,
yeah,
they could gas these people. And all of a sudden now, and this is what the person said. She said to me, and she used to work for the EPA too. And she said to me, Dave, Um, they don't want surviving heirs on the island. You've said that. They want to have total free and clear land. They don't want to have to pay off any more money than they've got to pay. And she said they could murder these people in a night.
They could.
And she said, I have never seen anything like this in home construction. She said, this is death camp stuff. And this is someone who worked for the EPA. I didn't even think of this. I mean, I have to say, I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't catch it. But she told me this, and I thought, oh, my gosh. So I don't think they're done with the survivors there yet. Do you feel that way, too?
I do feel that way. We had the honor of meeting. Okay, so I've made the comment. There's a Polynesian king. And some people are like, Sam, we're from the Hawaiian Islands. We don't know what you're talking about. The United Nations has voted in a Polynesian king. Now, I will send you his information, Dave, when we get off the phone. But I don't feel like I can put that worldwide yet. That information is going to come out. But I have met him face to face. He wants the islands all the way from Hawaii all the way down to Australia, even the French Polynesian. I mean, they want all of that returned back to the native peoples. And he's an amazing man, but he has to have bodyguards, and they don't tell you when he's coming. I mean, they were blowing seashells outside of the hub and up country. So we were up there working. They were giving away thousands of dollars in cash, gift cards, and housing stuff for the people that had lost their homes in the upcountry Kula fires. And Stephen and I were there helping. We hear the seashells, and in comes the Polynesian king. And he was amazing. A really amazing, I just keep saying amazing, but it was. I'd never met a king in my life. And he has great ideas for saving the islands, but can they get the islands away from these different countries, and can they get the world to see them as their own unit? They'll have to all stick together. It can't just be Hawaii and Guam, and then, Saipan is its own island, and it won't work that way. They're all going to have to connect in and, stick together.
And you said this was UN sponsored, correct?
Yes. So that was a little hard for me to swallow.
Let me rain on the parade here, okay? Because I can connect some dots very quickly on this. I'm not doubting the authenticity of the king and his goals, okay? But let's say he's in this small little microcosm here.
Right.
The big picture is this: the breakup of the United States. And I've covered this extensively now for about 15 years. And I won't go into too much detail because time is short, but there's Cascadia to join in with British Columbia. It's Washington, Oregon, Northern California, okay? There's the TENS region redevelopment, which became the FEMA regions that Nixon brought in 72, UN sponsored. Then there's Reconquista de Aztlan, the 8 states that the Reconquista people say were stolen from Mexico in the War of 1848, the Mexican War. And they want that to be its own independent nation. And there's many more. I could go through. I mean, there's about 11 of these right now.
Wow.
And this is the planned UN breakup of the United States. We're the number one target to take down, because they can't have a new world order that's dictatorial and do what they want to do to people if you have a nation based on constitutional freedoms and you have an affluent nation. So Biden's mission is to destroy the economy, destroy the military, okay? But the plan is to break up the United States. And I'm not saying this king is part of this. I'm saying I think he's doing probably what he thinks is best for the people he's representing. But the overall plan, since it's UN backed, it's part of what I'm talking about with the breakup of the U.S.
Wow, Dave, that's heartbreaking to me, because I have 2 sons currently in the military. I've been to Washington, D.C. 5 times in my life. My daddy is a mix of redneck and red bone from Biloxi in Louisiana. And yet, he didn't even finish high school, but he would drag me across the country to go all the way to Washington, D.C., to go and see the monuments, to see the copy of the Constitution. I can remember my mother putting her hand, and we knew it was a copy, but she would read it out loud, and she would cry, Dave. She would stand there with tears running down her face for the love of this country. And my parents are now 80 and 82, and when I look at them, I think, oh my God, what they have lived through in their 82 years, the upheavals of their country. And now their concern is, will there even be a country left for their grandchildren? And that's my question. when people ask me, Sam, why don't you just stick to what you love and what you're good at? That's farming. I said, because it goes further than that. I'm not going to be able to farm if Russia owns me or China comes in and takes my land. I love my country. I want to farm. You want to be an artist. They want to write a book. We can do that here. But if we lose our country, guys, that's the whole world's done. America's like, we're the dam stopping the flood, legitimately.
There's no question what you're saying. Related to what I'm talking about with the breakup of the U.S., I want to make a global statement here, literally and figuratively. What was done to Maui was to make it UN compliant, World Economic Forum compliant, to be in the smart cities concept. Okay, so that's really obvious. And here's the thing that people need to understand. They need to herd us into stack and pack cities so they can control us. They need to put us on CBDC so we can't have any economic discretion and rise up against them. They need to control our food and what we eat. They need to control what we say. And ladies and gentlemen, if they did this to Lahaina, they murdered people. This was genocide. We have proved it. Samantha and I proved this 9 times Sunday. And if they'll do it to them, they're going to do it to all of you. The methods may be different. It might not be directed energy weapons. It could be Chinese troops. Choose your poison. But this is coming for all of us. This is why you need to take this report seriously. Sam, I admired your work so much when I was actively covering this. Can you tell people how they can follow you?
Sure. We're mainly on YouTube under Starkey Farmstead. You can find me on Facebook. On Rumble, I just started an account because unfortunately I've gotten 2 strikes with YouTube so far. So I might be only on Rumble eventually, but I put that under my actual name, Samantha Starkey. But Dave, if I could just ask real quick, what we're doing right now, we were able to raise and bring upwards of like $38,000 to Maui and Lahaina and directly to the people into small groups that were working for the people. But right now I'm working on a program to feed my community. And if it's okay with you, I'm doing the same program, GiveSendGo.com, and it's Food for Thought. If anybody wants to look it up and send $1.
Food for Thought.
Yeah. And it's
Food for Thought, Give, Send, Go. Okay.
Yeah. And basically what I'm doing, Dave, I'm just going out into my community for hardworking American families that fall through the cracks. So I know a lady whose husband makes great money, but she has been fighting breast cancer for 3 years. They're eating processed food because they cannot afford with her medical bills to get fresh organic fruits and vegetables. Well, that's what I'm good at. So I'm going to grow it. I'm going to harvest it. I'm going to deliver it. And I'm going to minister to people in my community.
That's awesome. This is why you're one of my heroes. We're going to do this again. We covered, folks, maybe 1/10 of what needed to be covered today. There just wasn't time to go into all of it, but I thought we covered a lot.
We did.
Samantha, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate the work you do. And let's not be strangers. I want to get you back on.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. This was an honor.